Good morning, my friend. Welcome to it. This is Beyond the Itinerary. So good to see you. Welcome back.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a week has gone by so quickly.
Time flies, my friend, when you are having fun. I hope you've had a great week. Are you feeling better?
I am. I'm feeling much better because every time I see this blood pressure machine, my blood pressure rises. So now they've decided not to bring it near me.
Oh, okay.
Because it is bad for me.
Oh.
So it was a bit of a thyroid issue because I never took my thyroid seriously.
Okay.
So when you don't take your
Seriously.
if you don't take your thyroid seriously, it causes all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
And makes your heart beat faster, and so it apparently caused huge issues with my health.
Oh.
But after I started with the moringa, remember we had one with the moringa last week?
Yes.
They had some powder, so now I've taken some of that. I'm starting to walk more. I now walk from my desk to my bed.
Oh, what a long walk. Oh, wow. Shout out to you, my friend.
But I'm trying to do better. So today I parked really far from the studio.
Okay.
So that I could walk, because I think that's going to be good for me as well. So it's learning to lose weight, and you suddenly take stock of your health, because when you have a health scare, it kind of just smacks you to the left.
It's like a wake-up call.
It's a huge wake-up call.
Yeah.
So I spent the weekend deciding that weekends I need to take off, not work, because I tend to work 7 days, 18 hours a day, because I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I don't know when to say enough. My poor husband kind of wanders around the house because he's retired now.
Yeah.
So the poor man is kind of waiting for his wife to say, hello,
I'm
who
here.
are you?
Because you're always on your gadgets, on your phone.
You're right, we're on our
laptop.
gadgets,
Yeah, you need to know when to switch off, friend.
So now I've kind of rearranged my life to a 9 to 5 sort of, hopefully 9 to 5 arrangement, as it were. So with luck, I can now change that.
Okay.
So I thought what we'll do is I start with doing things I love. And one of the things that I love most is doing websites.
Oh.
So I started
But it's like work, friend.
No, I love to learn.
Okay.
So now there's a new ChatGPT 5 is out.
I believe so.
So I kind of started to play around with, I think the thing that I had to learn was going from knowing when I have something I can look at and say, this needs to be done. I know the instructions that need to be passed across, to looking at it and knowing that what we need to be looking at is, like, you have to give a system instructions now in writing. So whereas before the instructions were sort of almost template driven.
Okay.
Now you have to say, I want to create 3 lines of text that will create this and will connect that and do all that stuff. So you have to think of what you want to be the outcome.
Yes.
That's the challenge.
They call it prompt engineering.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think for me that the prompt engineering is a bit difficult. So what I did was, my sister needs a website. So I've decided to go on a website to try hers first, because she couldn't fire me.
Okay.
So I decided to do hers.
Okay.
And I went on to Canva, and I decided to use Canva AI. And that was a nightmare, because it wouldn't allow me to edit, and it didn't come with the wrong stuff. And I was like, doesn't matter what English I used. Then I thought, okay, start again, disconnect, played around a bit, and then said, okay, let's just go and create a Canva document, which I did. So I created just a Canva website, which is like a document, created it with her pictures and whatever, said create, and I've got wonderful guys at Imaginet who are my hosting providers. They really are great because you can talk to them. There's a human.
Okay.
So you can phone them and say, hey guys, I'm doing this. I'm going to send you some stuff. Can you help me connect it? And they do. So yes, you can buy stuff from Big Daddy and GoDaddy and places like that, but there's never a human on the other side. And this way we got a human. So I'm always able, and they're going, okay, are we doing something new again? I say, yes, we're doing something new. And within 20 minutes, literally, I had created the website and published, and she was able to have a website that worked, even with a WhatsApp that had a recorded message.
Wow. You're
So I
such a
was very
tech
chuffed.
head, my friend. I'm talking to a 65-year-old, and she's telling me the things that I don't even know what she's talking about. So it's always so wonderful to hear how you just navigate this tech world, my friend.
But you
impress
have
me.
to kind of, I think, thank you.
Mm.
I think one of the most important things is when you are in the age that we are, we started at the beginning of tech.
Yes.
Because in the 80s, they brought out the first PC, and we
Mm.
were so excited because we had this computer that was on our desk. It was like the most exciting thing in
And
the
it
whole
was
world.
huge.
It was huge. It was very big.
Yeah.
But it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then we learned how to build them. And I failed my programmer's test because they just told me to go and be a landscape gardener, never to touch computers. So I said,
Wow.
oh, all right then. But my curiosity got the better of me.
Mm.
So yes, I can in fact navigate, but it's purely because I'm driven to find the answer,
Yeah.
not because I'm clever, Trevor.
Okay.
It just takes me a bit longer than
Mm.
others. So whenever somebody has a problem, they phone me and say, can you figure it out? And I'm always like, please don't ask me that.
Yeah.
Because it means I'm going to sit here and watch TV thinking about what I actually want to go and find out.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I do. Other people cook.
Okay.
I
Find
write
problems.
Yes, I write apps. I wrote my first mobile app on Sunday. I wrote my first website on I did the first website with AI on Saturday. Sunday I decided, now that I'm a clever Trevor, let me go and write my first app.
Wow.
And I wrote my first app, which is an app that asks you where you want to go when you travel, what are your destination, what's your ideas, so that if you're a travel agency, you can use that to help people design their travel
Wow.
engagements. Yeah, I was
God
quite
damn.
chuffed about that.
Well, friend, thank you very much for all that update. And yeah.
And you've been
welcome to
riding
the
your motorbike.
I've been busy, man. I've been so busy. I've had such a busy, interesting week. So some of the guests that we have on the show afterwards, we have conversations, and they evolve into something different. And this Thursday, we're actually taking the team to the farm. Our guest Mabuang was here on Saturday. Last week Tuesday, and yeah. Needless to say, a week later, we're going to visit her farm. So there's been
That
a
is
lot of
exciting
happening. Yeah.
because it means that the reality of what we do is exciting to the point where what we do in the studio has longevity.
Yeah.
It doesn't just end here.
Absolutely. So we're going to go check out Lefakong Farm, the Moringa Farm, and we tasted a gin. It was absolutely amazing. We actually had a meeting with her on Thursday last week in Sandton.
Nice.
And then it was Ronnie's birthday, and then we got a bottle of gin, a small one, and we quickly had a shot in the middle of the day. And the ladies were like, aren't you guys supposed to be at work? We're like, we are at work.
That is amazing.
So yeah, man. So I'm excited to be back today on the show. We've got great guests, and of course we've got a beautiful, lovely guest here in this morning. You want to tell us a little bit more about her and how you guys met?
Well, it was quite interesting because Jade is come to us through Sihle Dube, who owns the what do you call it? The Embassy Fair.
Yes.
Shows you I'm blonde today. Embassy and Business Fair. And thanks to her, we've had some really amazing guests.
Absolutely.
And because it's Women's Month, we always now want to start our show. Normally we started with the guys, but today we're starting with the girls because following our girls hour, we're going to move on to Modise, who is Albi Modise. He is with the Gautrain.
Yes.
And you know the Gautrain is still going 15 years later, and how awesome is that? So we invited Jade, who is an entrepreneur. What else are we? Just wearing green means you're obviously sustainable in some way. She respects our earth, so well done to you. And overall, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Welcome, Jade.
Hold on. I just
What?
want to read out what you gave me about
Oh,
her.
shall we read the profile? Oh,
Let me do that.
that's- oh my
Let me
goodness
do
me.
that. Okay.
I was going to hope that she would do that in short form.
Yeah, no, she'll talk about it, but I think I want to read this one because it looks so good. I like your poster, by the way, Jade. So
That's
this
cool,
is Jade Green. She's the president of Women in Business and Trade, which is WIBT. She's a speaker at second annual edition Embassy's Business Fair and Conference on 8th and 9th of September. So yeah, we're excited to have you on board with us. She's a visionary behind WIBT, a global non-profit launched in 2025 to empower women in business and foster international trade. Jade Green is a leading new wave of inclusive economic growth. Her mission is to elevate women-owned enterprises and accelerate their participation in the global markets. In her session titled The Trade Passport, Unlocking Global Markets for Businesses, Jade will unpack how businesses, especially women-led ventures, can break through borders, navigate export pathways, and leverage international trade tools to scale sustainably. So this is going to be happening at the CSIR International Convention Center in Pretoria on the 8th to the 9th of September. So don't miss this powerful session designed to inspire and equip businesses and with the tools to go global with a purpose. So I am excited to welcome Jade to the show. Let's give her the horns. Good morning.
My word, is that what that's all about? Well, there you go. I mean, you should have more like ladylike bells.
Okay, we'll find
Hooches are
like
not really for girls, are they?
I always wanted those. I listen to it all the time when I'm driving in my car, so I feel like whoop whoop.
Oh yeah, you like that?
There we go.
There we go. Love it, love it, love it. Welcome to our show, Jade.
Thank you so much for having me.
Please pull your mic a little bit closer to you. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Ah, so good to have you. Wow, man, what a resume you've got going on. So, Geniene did ask if you could tell us a little bit more about you, where you grew up, where you were born, and how did you come about? Yeah.
So I am born in Pietermaritzburg, lived all my life in Johannesburg.
Oh, good. So you're a Joburg chick.
So I'm basically a Joburg chick.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
That works.
So I think I've always been an overachiever in life. So in primary school, I won the Victrix Ludorium, which is your highest sporting achievement.
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yes, and then I went on to pushing myself in high school, didn't get the Victrix, but I played numerous sports. Once I left school, I did my first job, which was at Pick and Pay head office.
Oh.
And then I realized I'm not the boss kind of person. I need to be the boss.
Okay.
And that's where my journey then started. I studied beauty, so I'm a qualified beautician, and then I studied event management, and I love events. That's my ultimate passion. And then as the years progressed, it went from owning a beauty salon to a security company to now I have a pharmaceutical company.
Wow.
I run Women in Business. I manage MMA fighters.
What?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
incredible.
I do wine. We have 7 vineyards in Cape Town that we manage, and basically it's just where we at. I manage international artists as well. We in the process of bringing them into South Africa. So we're bringing a band of Bloodstone and Danny Clay to South Africa.
Wow, that's
But isn't Danny Kaye already South African?
Danny Clay.
Oh, Danny Clay. I was just
Yeah.
going to say Danny Kaye's.
So Danny Clay does all the Luther songs.
Oh,
Oh, so he's a tribute artist.
He's a tribute artist, but he's really, really good. So we're bringing him to South Africa.
wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
So well done on you.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, let's go one step back because you said a lot of stuff and I've got so many question marks on everything. Okay, so when did you come to Joburg?
I was 6 weeks old.
Okay, so you don't know much about Pietermaritzburg.
No,
Okay.
I won't.
Where around Joburg?
I live in Bedford.
Okay. Okay, cool. So when did your journey in business start? I mean, you said you left Pick and Pay to then become a boss. What made you just, want to jump off? Apart from the fact that you said you didn't want to have a boss, you wanted to be a boss.
I think it's more in the sense of I'm very controlling as a woman,
Oh, really?
and I know what I want or how I want to do it, and I'm going to try and find ways to make things simpler, easier, and just to get it done. So when you're in the system, it's kind of controlled. You have to do it at a certain time, and and I never was somebody that ended my job at 5 o'clock. I always took work home with me. I always went the extra mile. I always found a way or a loophole to make things easier for me, and then I'd be bored at work. And then I just figured, just do it on your own, in your own time, in your own space, and start building.
Do you find that the role of women has grown over the years? In other words, we're now taken more seriously than we were before.
Yes and no. So yes, we are taken more seriously in certain aspects, but when you look at it from a business perspective, no. Because when you are climbing the corporate ladder, you find that a lot of times the men don't actually particularly like it. They don't like that growth. They don't appreciate it. Let's rather not say they don't like it. They don't appreciate it. And it is a very different kind of dynamic. So when you in your masculine as a woman, then you thrive, but when you're in your feminine as a woman thriving, you're not. So it's kind of a very hard balance, I would say.
I think, as we've discovered, the more interaction, I mean, when I was young, and I'm talking about in the sort of 70s and 80s, we were always the clerks, the sort of data entry people, the people who were the promoters. They were the people at the bottom of the ladder. The guys were always at the top of the ladder. And when a woman did make it, we were all surprised, like shock, horror.
Yeah.
There's a chick on board. But guys tended to just see that as a natural progression. I mean, I also grew up in the corporate ladder, and also just never questioned it, I suppose. And as you've gathered, I'm 65 now, so in those days when I was 16, 17 or whatever, the world was a lot different. But now I notice, as I suppose I'm more confident in myself, I don't really, if I walk into an office where there's somebody that I have to present to, and I arrive, they're always, and I dress the way I always dress. I used to wear suits and whatever, but now I don't. I just am who I am, and I've decided that you either take me as I am or you don't, whether you're male, female, transgender, it really doesn't matter. The difference in my life is, are you good or evil? Are you nice or not nice? If you're not nice, I won't deal with you. I don't care if you're a woman or a guy. If you're not nice, I don't want to be with you.
I think
but if you're nice,
I think that's the thing is, it's growth within, and it doesn't matter who it is, whether you're male or female. It has to be a personal kind of transition within yourself. You have to be comfortable with who you are, so that you are able to climb that corporate ladder. You're able to grow. You're able to see yourself in a better space, because the world is cruel. So people are going to bring you down, and they're not going to allow your growth to be so smooth. But if you know who you are, and you know that you have a goal, and you're getting to it, it doesn't matter what anybody says.
Absolutely.
The judgment is the issue you have to put aside.
Yeah.
It's if they want to judge you, well, be that on them, not on you.
So I take it, whether you are a woman or you're a guy, there will always be either people that are going to pull you down.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's just people are like that. There are good people, bad people. So that's what I'm getting from you ladies.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much why when we celebrate women, we don't celebrate our position in society. I look at it as we celebrate the fact that we are nurturers, we are moms, we are the Mother Earth, the Mother Nature. Not so much we lord over guys or we're doing better than guys. And I think that's where people sometimes take Women's Month a bit incorrectly. I noticed that last week when they were and somebody asked me about being a woman and why do we have to have our own month. And I'm saying all we're doing is celebrate us being moms, being a daughter, being a nurturer, Mother Nature. It's really about the word mother. How do we look after our animals? So don't take it personally.
Yeah.
But as human beings, we take things personally and we think, how does it affect our life? But meeting somebody like you, it's been awesome because you know where you want to be. And here you are, just having decided this is your path and that's what you want to do. So well done on you.
Thank you.
And how difficult was it to start a business? Like for anybody, any lady who's stuck in their job, probably hates it and wants to jump. what are the first things they need to do first in order for them to take that risk and that leap of faith?
Interesting question, because yesterday I said I would never start another business again in my life.
Really?
Unless it's purely gardening or a cleaning service.
Okay.
All right. And I think it boils down to research. Know what your business is. Know what your target market is. Know what you want to do. Anybody can start any business, but you have to do the homework before you actually set out. If you are in a particular field, so I've moved into pharmaceutical. It's the most difficult thing I've ever done in my entire life. There is way too many red tapes. There's procedures and documents, and you have to make sure that it's all aligned. You have to find a mentor. Importantly, women in business, men in business, find a mentor. Find somebody who's willing to hold your hand. There's a lot of things that we think, and you get that teenage stage where you think, I know everything and I'm not going to listen to my parent. You have it in business. So you have to find somebody who's older than you, who's been there, that can help you, coach you. Don't be afraid of going and getting a life coach, a business coach. These are the things that you need so they can guide you along the path. Business is tough. Business is not easy. Business isn't about the profit in the first 3 years. So you're not going to see it. You have to say, I'm going to struggle, but I'm not going to give up. I think that's the biggest thing on any business, is just not giving up.
And then also, what about support, like from family? Because often, you get into, especially entrepreneurs, you move from one business concept to another, and then that one fails. Like in a space of 5 to 10 years, you probably started 3-4 businesses that have failed.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Because sometimes what happens is you start a business, you borrow money from a family. They're like, oh my God, here they go again. They got another brand new idea. They think they're going to change the world. So how important is support for people around you, just to say, okay, we understand that this is going to be a long, tedious journey, but we're not going to be very judgmental?
I keep all my stuff very, very private.
Okay.
I'm not somebody who tells my family what I'm doing. I don't involve my family in it. I allow them to be there for my successes and celebrate on that, but everything else is very private, because family is very judgmental. And they are the first ones to tell you how you're doing it wrong, what you're doing wrong. They're not afraid to, because there's an unspoken love in family. So if you're not doing well, they're still going to praise you.
Okay.
And they're not going to push you that extra mile. So rather let them celebrate you when you've worked hard. And so my mom said to me the other day, you don't say anything. I'm just seeing you posting that you're going to be talking and you're speaking at this and you're at this, and why? And I said to her, well, you're going to celebrate and you're going to be there. But it's about being silent about what you do. Wait until you are ready to show the world, because that's how you grow.
And I think sometimes people don't realize that in your lifetime you're going to have at least 10 businesses. If you're a serial entrepreneur, and I'm one of those, that if I have an idea, I will chase it until I realize, actually, that wasn't such a good idea. I think it's time to give up on that one and start another one. And purely sometimes because it's finance driven. So like, I have a growing family. I have to look after them. I was always fortunate that I had a husband who worked and a ex-husband who paid the bills for the kids. So I was able to take those risks and say, I can take a risk and leave my job and start what I want to start. As I got older, it became less and less of a risk. When I wanted to start something, I needed something that would give me my first order before I took that risk. So I think it all depends on your circumstances, on what are you able to feed your kids and keep the roof over your head before you launch into anything that you want to do. And I think the rule of thumb is, if you are working, do a night hustle. In other words, do what you want to do on the side hustle, until it's sustainable enough for you to make that leap. Sometimes somebody's saying, like, I watch Dragon's Den a lot, and you see them say, well, I'm not going to invest in you because you're still working. And I'm going, you clearly never had to feed your family. These people are trying to start a business by keeping their roof over their kids' heads. Sometimes that decision is not an easy one.
But also, employment is a kind of, I always said that if you have employment and you have a side business, you're still an entrepreneur, because even at your employment, you're offering them a service and they're paying you for it. That's already a client in the bag, instead of just looking at it as if it's just employment only.
I think the leap is when you are ready to go into sales or production of your business.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So what you need to do is, when you're working, it's okay to work and build. And when I say build, there is so much paperwork that goes into a business. So you got your website, you've got your you've got to find an accountant, you've got your CIPC,
terms and conditions,
you've
and
got terms,
CBIC
protocols, and
yeah.
you need to do all of that while you're working. Once you have that and it's established, and then you say, okay, I'm doing one order, maybe it's 10 or 20, and it's these small orders that get there. And as soon as you're able to keep a regular and you have one set client that is able to give you the bare minimum, because a business owner, when you're starting out, it's not about driving the fancy car. There's no way that you're going to. It's really that long hustle, and then you make that step. But you can't do both.
And I think the
you
most,
can't.
and I don't know if you also discovered that, kind of, people have this perception that if you have your own business, you've got time to stay at lunch, and you got time to spend like an hour or two extra at lunch, or you can go shopping at any time during the day. You can kind of wake up late. Those are things that you don't realize you can't do as an entrepreneur, because then the money doesn't come in. So you kind of, and entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
Yeah.
I've noticed that unless you are disciplined enough to wake up in the morning at a certain time, and even earlier, it doesn't have to be like I wake up at 6 just by natural waking up, and then I go through and look at LinkedIn. I look at different profiles to see what's going on in the world of the business that I'm interested in, which is mostly tech or travel and tourism, what's new, what's been launched. Because I've got that quiet hour. Nobody's going to phone me in that 6 to 7 kind of period. And then I start interacting with customers and friends and saying, listen, this is what's going on today. Are we able to do this? So the hustle begins. And then come lunchtime, like today, a friend said, can you meet me for lunch? And I was like, actually, no, you can't, because I'm working. I need to have some meetings. Can we leave it till Saturday? And she goes, but don't you work for yourself? And no, I do work for myself, which is why I can't meet you for lunch. You know, and that's where I think the sometimes the balance comes in. You find it difficult to say at 6 o'clock, I'm shutting down my computer and I need to cook. I cook with my phone and my laptop on one side, and I cook dinner, because my husband said that he refuses to cook dinner every night. But he does do the dishes.
Okay. Wow, man. But now, I want to ask, like, the failure rate of businesses. I mean, I had, like, anything between 30 to 40% of businesses fail in the first 5 years.
90% of your first businesses fail.
90%?
Yes. Because you don't know what you're doing. You have an idea.
Okay.
You have a dream, and you don't know what you're doing.
So what's the time frame? Is it 5 years or less? It probably less.
It is.
It
I
depends,
think the first
on the
failure.
business.
I think your first failure would come in the first year, and then you have that 6 month. Okay, I'm not working out. How do I fix it? Where do I go? And then you have that next 6 months, which is persistence. I'm going to persist. And then if you're not breaking even in your first year, you gotta make a decision.
Yeah, then it's time to decide, is it something you're going to pursue or not? And you know, you often, and I know that Jade will agree, it's not about being a good salesman. It's about understanding your product, because your mates will help you sell it. I've discovered over the years that when I'm about to start a business and I'm in a company and everybody says, oh, you've got to go for it, I'll support you and I'll take my business and I'll join you, and you think, okay, now's a good time, and you take this leap out, you resign, you start off and you pick up the phone and say, right, I'm now in my own business. I go, oh yeah, but sorry, I can't move that quickly. And so never rely on people who tell you they will follow you. Don't rely on your mates. Don't know your business, and know that you've got to do complete strangers who don't know you, because that's your sale. But find a coach in a business you want to be in. So if I want to be in Tiger Brands, for instance, I have a coach there that tells me when I want to produce a product, who's the best person to see me about that product.
Yeah.
Because big businesses work with different departments, and unless you know the right department, could take you flippin' ages. So like, I'm trying to secure space at OR Tambo for a client for 6 months. I have a client who has an office in OR Tambo, and he is helping me to find my way through that to the right person.
And now she met me.
And now I've met her.
And we're going to leave it just over there with why she met me.
You
Love it.
I think also in terms of, we're talking a lot about product and product, in terms of the business and a service. One of the things is we mustn't forget that you are your brand. You are your brand. You wear your brand.
Oh, you mean like this?
Yes, your brand. So it's very, very important when you're starting a business. I've got a lady, and I'm always impressed by her because she's got a tattoo. So she does rabbit farming.
Oh.
And she is so invested in her brand that she even had the tattoo branded on her.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I looked at it the first day and I was like, okay, but that's taking your brand seriously, taking you and understanding that you are your business. You're your business, you're your company, you are your brand in every shape, way, form that you are doing it.
And I agree, because you have to, I think, as Jade says, and when somebody sees you, they need to know who you are. So when you walk in a room, somebody says, oh, that's Geniene, or that's Jade, you've kind of crossed a line. You've now become
With
somebody,
ruffled feathers.
Yes. Somebody knows that you've arrived.
How do
which
you...
is so cool.
Yeah. So how do you establish a personal brand and your business brand and merge the two and actually be able to... how do you merge the two? How do you...
So I struggled. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say it was easy. I struggled. I had to get a coach. I had to get mentoring. I had to pull myself out of it, and then I had to say, who am I? Who is Jade Green? First, I had to know who I was, because then I couldn't blur up, the lines of where I'm going or how I'm going. So you have to be so in tune with yourself, and that when you go out there, you know who you're representing, because you won. My business is me. So Miller is me.
Correct.
Free Mind is me. When I'm doing an event, it's me. So I do golf days, it's me. I encompass that in that moment. It is me. So when you leave that event and you go, oh yeah, Jade, you associate with the name and the event as one.
And I think you also got to get unhooked on numbers of followers, for instance. So like, I look at my Facebook page and I have Life as a Beach, and then I have all my businesses associated with it, and they kind of crisscross. And it's great because you're able to crisscross brands across the different styles of businesses that I do. But somebody said to me the other day, gee, you've only got 1,000 followers. I said, I know almost every one of them, because I interact with them. I can't deal with more than 1,000 customers. So what's the point in having 23,000 followers when I can't deal with all of them? I'm not hung up on the numbers. I want my TV show to have 23,000 viewers, because out of those 1,000 people, I want them to buy into that following. So we have to establish, and a lot of people don't know how to, and I'm sure you found that as well. They don't understand the dynamics between followers, i.e. I'm Justin Bieber and I have 23 million followers, to how do I make my money out of those people who follow me. So you have to be able to make money out of your stream. So my stream is who I have following, like the Real South Africa has 523 followers. Yet when I post something, I get enough shares and likes to reach 20 to 30,000 people just through that 500 people that follow me. But I make my money out of those 500.
Okay.
I don't make my money out of the 23,000.
Makes sense.
So you kind of have to decide how, like big brands, I would imagine, like an airline like TAG would want to make money out of 23,000 people because they have a corporate, they have a corporation. But when small businesses are growing, use your family and friends to say, please don't only like my page. I can't do a business out of a like or a follow. I want you to promote my brand. So I want you to take my flyer and send it to 5 of your mates. That's how I'm going to make my money. So our friends and family have to realize that just a like or a follow is not really going to get us anywhere.
Yeah,
it's,
I think
it's an integration into our business, you know?
Absolutely. So I want to take you back to what you do and why you're here. The WIBT, and I'm just looking at it now. So tell us a little bit about it. It was launched in 2025. What is that all about?
So WIBT is Women in Business and Trade. I was a former president of another women's organization.
Oh, wow. Ms. President, how are you?
Thank you. And my board and I wanted to make a difference. We didn't want to just tick the boxes and say we're attending events and we're doing this. We wanted to have success stories. We wanted the ladies
to be a part of the growth.
Correct. We wanted the ladies that were following me and coming for advice and wanting the growth. We wanted to give them opportunities, platforms. As you had Mabu here, Mabu's my provincial chair in the organization.
Wow.
I absolutely love her. We've got another lady doing rabbit farming. We've got chicken farming. We've got a big sector in agriculture. We've got pad manufacturing. So a lot of the ladies have their own businesses, and they're coming together with us in WIBT, helping them with trade, helping them with connections, networks, getting them onto different shelves. So that is what we are. I don't want to reinvent what's already out there with women organizations. So what we're trying to do is partner up with other women organizations so that we are not competing. I believe that reinventing the wheel of something that's already been done is a waste of time and energy. I can sign an MOU and we can grow and make our businesses stronger, because it's not about me. Yes, I might have the title as president, but it is about the members that are following and are waiting for those opportunities. That's what WIBT is about. So, and we're pushing them into export hugely.
Brilliant. So now, you're going to be speaking at the Embassy Fair on the 8th and the 9th, and you've got a title that says the Trade Passport, Unlocking Global Markets for Businesses. That's the title of your talk?
Yes.
Tell us about more, yeah?
So last year with the first launch, we didn't introduce this. So this year what we're doing on the trade fair is introducing pitching. So we're going to have the investors from various countries sitting there, and we are going to pitch businesses to them. 5-minute pitching session so that they can see if it can grow into their country, if it can be adapted, if they can invest into them in this country and help them with the growth in their sustainability of their business in any shape. Also, this would help us with collaborations. So in South Africa, they might be, and we'll go back to Mabu as you had her here. Mabu had the moringa, and we might be able to take Mabu into Zambia, for instance. And that could be a brand new market for her, and that could be a collaboration. So that's kind of what we are looking at doing with the embassy event on the passport and pitching.
So how important is pitching? Sorry, my friend.
I wanted to just bring in that point about pitching.
Okay, yes,
just
please.
if you don't mind me interrupting.
No, please.
One of the things that I've also found with organizations, they are great when they start out.
Okay.
They really are, and yours particularly addresses a certain niche market and allows us to grow within that niche market. It gives us a safe space. We talked about that this morning, safe spaces, and And one of the things that I'd love to see an organization like you do more is teaching us how to pitch. So what I did the other day was, I have a product we're launching on the 30th of August. I have asked a bunch of mates to come and be my harshest critics. I've asked a friend for a space that's got like a theatre. And because I'm also doing a talk at the Embassy Fair, I want it to be the best presentation I've ever done. But I don't want to be a speaker on a podium. I want it to be, I watch these ones that they do overseas with people walking on and off the stage, and I think, I want mine to be like that. But I'm also very shy. I'm an exceptionally shy person. I'm also an introvert. So
She's friend, I can't believe that.
I can't believe it, and I just met her today.
No.
Yeah.
But I have to find the courage from within to walk out on that stage to face 100 people and know that I want every one of those people to buy my product. But I have to be engaging enough for them to do that. So the opportunity that you give them to pitch into Africa is awesome. But Africa can be also our hardest audience, because it's usually made up of a room full of black guys. And no disrespect intended, but they are not used to women walking in and pitching something that's successful, because they want to be the person who owns that product, not the person who's pitching it. So I think if somewhere we can also find a place or a platform that once a month we say, we're going to take a room for a day, would you like to come and pitch? Because we're going to sit there and say, like the guys at Pop Idols and X Factor
like
and all
Shark
that.
Tank and
So you come and you pitch, and we say, we don't understand what it is you're selling. Do you want to come in and rather say something like, hey guys, have you ever done something like this? Because that might work, but it may not work for the person's personality. So I'm just saying that because it's a safe space.
So WIBT has already started that initiative. We've got the export ready workshops that are coming up.
Nice.
So we are doing workshops.
Well done.
We are getting them ready, because yes, nobody's ready for it.
No.
You know,
it's a scary place.
So we've got they will have, after the 2-day workshop, they will be export ready, but we're having all the experts come in to discuss the tariffs, to discuss what is exporting, how do you get your licensing, having this is what your next step is, or this is what your next, so we're doing all of that in that sense. On the pitching, I'm not going to say much right now, but I would say I am speaking to a TV station. As WIBT, we are looking at launching something very similar. But not as your Dragon's Den, and not because Dragon's Den is they come there and it's on the day. We want to do the journey.
But would you also have a space where I learn to pitch? In other words, I don't want to sell something to this audience. They could be my pretend audience. So in other words, I want to learn how to get the best out of my personality. Because my friends and family are great. They love me anyway. They'll always say, Geniene, that was such a nice presentation, because they want to be kind. I don't want them to be kind. I need them to say, that sucked. I had no idea what you were talking about. I want somebody who sits there to say, but I think this is the way you could do that. And using an organization like yours would be so amazing, because it's a safe space for us as women to make a mess. Of our to be told, listen, your presentation's really boring. But it's a safe space to be told that.
I think I am that person as a leader, unfortunately, and I'm very open with people, and they know this. I have an open door policy, so when they do come to me, I'll say, send it to me. Did you think about that? Doesn't sound right.
I always say I'm brutal, so get used to it.
And nobody's ever turned around and go, oh, I don't like you, or you're miserable, or, they tend to love me more for my honesty with them. So yes, and that's what we want to do. We've done the Amazon as well. We got businesses on Amazon, so they could trade on Amazon. So we're doing the smaller things. I think obviously, 2025, 1st of July, WIBT went on its own.
Nice.
So we are very, very new and young. So there's a lot of change that would
I would love to be involved. Myself and Sipo, if you ever need like media training we'll happily pitch in and assist where we can, because we've come a long way. I don't know how long.
Yeah.
I've been in radio since 2000, so what's that, 25 years?
Yeah.
So it's something we could also assist with. That how do they get to be in front of an audience? How do they get to be on TV or radio? And we can help you with that. If there's a way that we as a team can help in any way whatsoever,
That would be
we will
great,
help.
because we do have I have ladies in every sector.
Okay.
So it's amazing, because we've got life coaches. So, how do they address people and their confidence? Yeah.
Confidence a bit.
I'm shy, by
Yeah.
the way.
As well, yeah.
Like, I'm super shy, right? And I used to stutter, and I owe my speaking in public to Albi Modise.
Really? Well, what did he have to do?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I was doing an event, and he was standing up there, and the confidence of the way he spoke from his heart. And then the next event, he couldn't be present. And he said to me, "You've got me." And I said, "I got you." And I remembered the first time he spoke, and I spoke exactly the same verbatim of what he said the first time.
Oh.
But I was speaking for him, not for me.
For you.
Okay.
And there was a shift. So now I can speak on the stage, and I'm not nervous, and I'm not trembling anymore.
Oh, wow.
So I always say to him, I thank him.
When I'm doing public speaking, I always have a story.
you have
Because
a
my
story.
whole life is made up of stories.
Yeah.
So I share my stories, irrespective of whether I look like the idiot
To
or...
break the ice.
No, just because when you're speaking about something, then I always think, but I've got a story to tell you.
Oh.
So people then can relate to you as a person and your product to something they can relate to. Because you tell the story and they have this picture in their head of you doing that story, of being in that story. So now they're in a comfortable space because you're just like them. If you can get your audience to relate to you as them, then you've kind of made and I've noticed that when I say, and I've got to tell you the story. So there was this guy, or there was this person, and this is what he did, and I was thinking to myself, oh my word! And then suddenly you see people in the audience nodding, and they've been in that situation before,
Yeah.
So it's people like this organization that it just is an amazing way to bring people into a space that's safe.
Okay, cool.
So well done.
Well done. So how do the ladies join and become, do you join as an individual or you join as a company to be part of the WS?
So currently as WIBT, because we changed over, I'm not doing any membership for the year.
Okay.
I'm doing rather come and see what we have to offer.
Oh.
Let's grow you. Let's have you on board. We are about to launch our website, which would be wibt.org.za. We have got our social media platforms. People can go on and get more information on it, and then they can just come and let me know. Open door policy, because every woman that comes, I need to know their business.
Okay.
We have a woman
What their
sponsor.
business is doing.
Her name is Audrey McMillan, and she's from Sapra. She started the business many years ago with her dad. Her dad has since passed away, but she exports South African goods to stores around the world. So I'm going to introduce you because I think she could certainly assist other people wanting to export goods, because I promise you, if there's anybody who knows the export rules, flippin' hell, she's like an encyclopedia.
Wow.
If you say to her, I'd like to export this product to Australia, she'll say, let me just have a look. No, it can't go because this is a rule and this is a rule. And she'll tell you the rules around that. She's an incredible person. So
I
I'd
can't
love
wait.
to introduce you.
Absolutely cannot wait.
This
I'm
is
trying to
fabulous.
get my pharmaceutical products to Mauritius right now, and it cannot be flown. So I would love to meet with her and have a conversation around other options.
Other options. So I'll definitely introduce. See, it's just... Networking is wonderful in this country. South Africa, A1, for always being open to share and nurture and do the things that we do.
Absolutely. All right. So are you ready and excited to do your talk on the 8th and the 9th? Have you prepared your speech yet, or it's something you're still going to work on?
So that's the other thing about preparing speeches. I don't prepare a speech.
Oh, you just flow.
I flow.
But you have a title and you have an idea.
I have my
in your mind.
title. I have my words to put in. I research my topics. I go through all of that, but I don't put it down in a format. Speech. No, like I'm gonna mess up.
Oh.
So you have to register to listen to Jade.
Okay.
And you have to register on www.embassiesbfc.com. And come and be a delegate. Come and see what it has to offer. Because even Sikle is the CEO of the show. Woman power.
Yeah, come on, shout out.
And there's going to be a lot of embassies there, so a lot of trade agreements, a lot of businesses. There are going to be exhibitors there. So if you're a business and you want to exhibit your business, go onto the website.
And
the social media pages are there. You're going to get more information. Personally, I know Sihle, and she's also like me, open door. So she takes all the calls. She's very helpful, and she's got years of experience in this. I mean, Rand Show was all because of her, I believe.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to join? And I'm talking ladies, by the way.
You can always wear a dress. Oh, come on.
They can contact me on 076
Okay.
988 276.
Say that again, please.
076 988 276.
And then your socials?
I'm Jade C. Green.
Okay.
Or WIBT.
And what is your expectation of the fair? Like, what are you hoping to get out of it? As an individual, as a brand?
New markets. As an individual, new markets, because I have my own companies as well, new markets. I love the networking. You never know where it's going to take you, so I'm excited about that. Forming new relationships, I think, is amazing. And hopefully we get some good travel deals out of this, and we visit other African countries as well.
That's absolutely amazing. One last thing I wanted to ask you, and maybe to both of you, because I was actually chatting to someone about networking, that most entrepreneurs don't know how to manage the networking process. You go to an event, you get there, you speak to 1 or 2, 3 people, and you know, people don't actually know how to follow up sometimes. Do you have a strategy on networking on its own?
I do.
Okay, what is it?
So if I'm at a specific event, I do go with 2 or 3 people.
Okay.
Mabu is one of my wing people.
Oh, you're a wingman also.
So what we do is I would sit down, not that I'm not approachable, we split the room up.
Okay.
I want that one, I want that one, that one, that one. And you specific for what the reason is that I want that person. We get their business cards, come home. Before the night is over, I would have messaged them. If I'm alone, I would make sure that I will not leave with 5 people of interest.
Okay. And then your messaging would be via WhatsApp or email, or is there anything?
Whatever you get from that business card.
Okay.
So if it's WhatsApp, if it's only a WhatsApp, you send a WhatsApp, you send a SMS, and you send that email so they can get it from all angles. You introduce yourself, how you met, and then you kind of flow from there and see where that conversation's going to go. You set up the next meeting outside of that engagement that you first met and see if there's anything. And if there's something, you pursue it. If not, you met somebody and you never know when you'll need them down the line.
Sure. This has been incredible, ladies. I could listen and chat to you for the whole time because I've got so many questions. So now you're going to have to wear a dress
so you can come to the
Janine, please, come on. I'm not going to wear a dress.
No, he's got this. No, he's got this green.
This like green jacket. That would work. You just need a wig.
What was that again?
I think he needs a wig.
What was it called?
It's an aspirational
But
jacket.
how are you going to feel about coming with a thick winter jacket in spring?
Yeah, that's also true. So I'll find something more lighter. Okay, but not like a dress because I'm not going to do that.
Thank you so much, Jade, for joining us.
Thank you
such a pleasure.
So much for having me.
I really hope you'll come back again.
Yes.
I will. Please invite me again.
No, definitely.
And I must tell you, our next guest, Albi Modise from Gautrain. I first started dealing with the Gautrain before 2010, and it was then run by Barbara Johnson, who was the lady in charge of putting the whole Gautrain media pack together. So again, a woman was in charge.
Yeah. And they've grown. And
Yeah.
coaching has grown.
And look how awesome it is.
Happy Women's Day. Happy
Thank
Women's
you.
Month. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for gracing us. We appreciate you. Thank you for the wonderful conversations. And I'm hoping that all the ladies who are watching and listening will have learned something from you. So we appreciate you.
Thank you
Sure
so
we
much.
will.
I hope you had fun with us.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
I'm glad we
I absolutely did. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to welcome our second guest who's going to chat to us right here on the Bogart Radio. And of course, this is Beyond the Itinerary.
With
my
Uncle
friend.
Zach.
Yes.
And Geniene.
Yeah. Auntie J. Auntie G.
G.
Auntie G. All right. Let's take that break, man. Let's do this.
Live. Catch up.
With Geniene and Uncle Zach,
Yes.
Beyond the Itinerary.
Absolutely. We are so good to be back. Great first hour conversations with our guest, and thank you very much to Jade for sharing all that information about women in business.
And of course, it's because it's
Incredible.
Women's Month.
It's Women's Month.
Yeah.
But she's a powerhouse, that one. She's a little dynamite.
Absolutely. And you know, our next guest,
Yes.
Albi Modise,
Yes.
before we even begin with the Gautrain, because he is the Senior Executive Communications and Marketing for the Gautrain,
Yes.
my story with the Gautrain started in 2010 because we had to have this train ready for the Soccer World Cup. That
Yes.
was the whole thing behind it. And there was a lady behind it at the time called Barbara Johnson.
Yeah.
And her and I did so much work together because we then had the City Lodge in-room magazine. So we had them on the cover. We were invited to the opening. And, you know, everybody was the naysayers. They were kind of I brought that up because it's Women's Month. So the kind of woman thing comes into it. But it was such a time of naysaying because everybody's like, oh, well, it's not going to last because, you know, it's South Africa and, you know, the whole bit.
Yeah.
So, Tim, so the interesting thing was at the time, there was the whole hype around the Soccer World Cup and that launched, and it was so cool to get on a train and be able to send the pictures overseas and say, check it on our train. And I think at the time, if I'm not mistaken, it was Sandton to the airport. That was our journey.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing to sit on this train and go from one to the other and know that we didn't have to be overseas to be on this train.
Absolutely.
So it was a great feeling. And we started with cards, and these are the cards, the Gautrain cards. You had to buy your card and you put money on your card and you got to the station. We had a station in Sandton. It was just so amazing. So it's great to welcome you to the studio. And I
want to do his profile before.
Yes, no, you're going to do his profile because I know you're dying because he is a radio man.
Yeah, look, just leave me alone, my friend. Let me be.
So I really just wanted to welcome you into the studio and just we're so happy to have you here because you just bring to us such joy.
Thank you.
Having
Thank
our very own train in South Africa.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so
And
much.
now it's your turn.
Okay. All right, Bro Albi, I'm going to do this, okay? So I'm going to tell people who you are, okay? So Albi Modise is an experienced and qualified communications executive with rich and reliable expertise in areas ranging from management and advisory roles in media relations, corporate communications, communications policy, broadcast media policy, and management of marketing and communications functions. Modise is an experienced spokesperson who has served the South African government in the ICT sector and environment management communications. Modise is a confident public speaker who has served as a lecturer in broadcast journalism with an undying passion for the communication sector. Now, you are my man, because you know I'm a communications junkie, so
Yes.
you know, I mean, you like the OG. You know, the legend.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much.
So I'm sure every time you hear somebody read out your profile, you're like, okay, is that me? Or does it shock you? Or is it normal now to hear people introducing you?
It shocks me.
Okay.
Because when you do what you love, you don't do it for a profile.
Yeah.
You do it because it's what tickles your fancy. And with the passage of time, those things that you do out of love and passion become what you're renowned for, and people respect you because of what you've done in that space. And it becomes what it becomes actually your profile.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when someone reads out your profile, or you've just done now, I try to retrace the years as you go through the different phases of that career path. God has been kind, I must say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so I'm going to go one or two steps back. So where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in a township called Garankuwa.
Oh, okay.
In Pretoria.
Komahlanye.
Yeah. I was born and raised in Ga-Rankuwa. So in those years, the township was placed under the Bophuthatswana administration.
Yes.
BOP.
Yes.
So this is the closest that Bophuthatswana was to Pretoria. And the idea was to really have that segment of the Pretoria township placed in a homeland, and to see how effective the homeland system would be, even if it's closer to the capital city, Pretoria. But much as it was a detestable system, there were opportunities created for other companies and industries. So it effectively meant that Ga-Rankuwa was in a different country, right? Because Bophuthatswana was nominally independent.
Yes.
And in that situation, it meant that people like 702 could set up business in Ga-Rankuwa, though beaming into South Africa. So effectively, it gave an opportunity to the emergence of independent radio. Actually, the homeland system in this country is, you go to Transkei, that's how Capital 604 was born. By the Republic of Transkei before it moved to Durban. And so you saw emergence of independent media in those particular countries beaming into the mainland South Africa. So that's basically where I grew up and studied did my schooling in Ga-Rankuwa, then went to the Eastern Cape, where I really had a fantastic time.
What?
Emaxhoseni.
God damn. Okay.
I arrived in Grahamstown on the eve of the 94 elections.
Oh, wow.
So I voted there in 1994. But also got to experience when the forerunner to the current ICASA, the Independent Broadcast Authority, licensed the first commercial or community radio stations. And our station at that time, Rhodes Music Radio, became one of the first beneficiaries of the IBA's licensing regime at that particular point. So Grahamstown was fantastic. I loved every single second of my time that I spent there.
Yeah. It's like a creative arty town, or...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Small, arty. Around June, it comes to life with the Grahamstown Arts Festival.
Yes.
And it was just... I came from Pretoria and I arrived in a town that was very quiet. No skyscrapers. And actually, I remember the first few days when I arrived there, I kept on wondering whether I would really survive in this town. But I had, one of my most memorable episodes of my life in that particular town.
And you went into studying communications there, or?
I did journalism. I did journalism at Rhodes. And so from the age of 12, I knew I wanted to do this thing. There was never a time when I wanted to do anything different from. So at 12, I would have wanted to do radio, right?
Who was your influence?
So I'm 12 years old. Radio Bob is changing the sound of radio in South Africa, right? There are guys like Lawrence Dube.
Oh my God, yeah.
There are guys like Tim Modise.
Yes.
There are people like Modisani Modise.
Yes.
There are,
Bob
gentlemen like... No, I'm going to come to
before.
Bob.
Okay. These are the legends.
These are the legends. These are the guys who laid the foundation.
Modisani Modise.
Yes. And there is a guy called Tebogo Matima who, jointly with Lawrence, were part of the team that set up Kaya FM.
Okay.
1989 arrives. I'm in high school. I'm about 16, 17. I'm 17 years old. And then I open the radio and I hear a gentleman called Bob Mabena.
Oh my God. Yeah. The legend himself.
Yeah. And life has never been the same ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Bob changed the game completely for you.
He did. So I was young. I was looking for a black person I can identify with.
Young, vibrant.
But someone who can, make me believe in the dream that I had. And I read his story and I found that this 19-year-old from Atteridgeville, who spoke impeccable English on radio, by the way.
That's also true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He spoke with an accent before it became very famous for a black person to have an accent like that.
And he went to a black school in a township, So, and that's what fascinated me about him.
Yeah.
Like, this guy was defying everything that we were told we can't do.
Yeah.
And And I knew at that time that he's destined for greatness. And he didn't prove me wrong. Over the many years, he went on to do great things.
Yeah.
I mean, when he arrived at Radio Metro at that time, 1992, it was a different world.
Yeah.
He changed the sound of the station.
No, he did.
So that's basically, if I go on with that on that journey, I'm telling
You'll
you.
have to join the Gentleman's Club. So now you have your next guest for the Gentleman's Club. Well done on you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, sorry, excuse us when we go on our radio.
Listen,
Okay, so and then from studying in Rhodes, where did you move to?
So while I was at Rhodes, I got exposed to the workings of the SABC. One of my lecturers used to be the executive producer of not Carte Blanche, of there was a show called Agenda on the SABC.
Oh yes, I remember.
You know, we used to have a lot of current affairs shows, Agenda, Newsbreak, and all of that. George Masarakis, a very, very respectable gentleman who later on went on to produce or become an EP at Carte Blanche. So he got me my VEC jobs at the SABC.
Oh, okay.
And I got to write bulletins for Metro at that time. This is 94, 5, 6. This country was changing. The SABC was changing from being a state broadcaster into becoming a public broadcaster. There was a lot of anticipation because the SABC was it's a crucial institution in terms of social cohesion. Because it speaks to communities in languages that they understand. So it was an important phase of my life. But so that's basically where I learned I mean, by the time I arrived at the SABC, I was just fascinated by the institution.
The size of it.
The size of
it's just enormous.
It's almost like a town on its own.
Yes.
Because everything was there, you know. They had a post office inside, because obviously when you write, in those days we had postcards, so so each time you wrote to a station you had to write a postcard. Auckland Park 2006, and it had to arrive at the SABC. And it was an interesting era of how communication has evolved over time. Look where we are today.
Has it changed a lot?
It has changed significantly.
Okay.
I mean, when I went to study journalism, I majored in broadcasting.
Okay.
And radio was my specialization. I used reel-to-reel tape for my interviews, and I had to edit a tape physically, you know?
Yeah.
Splicing tape.
What?
Cut it from one end to the other and bring it all together.
Yep, and we did those.
Right?
Yep, we did those.
And we bring it all together, and that's basically how you
managed to edit.
That's how you used to edit.
Yep.
Before the computers could do any of that work.
Yeah.
That's what we used to do.
And you had a pencil.
We had a pencil,
Because the pencil was
to
for the
show.
cassette.
Yes.
And you could turn the cassette around because you had a pencil. That's why pencils have got flat sides.
Yes.
So that when you put it into the cassette, you could wind it, because the winding would come out and you'd have to cut it, join it, and wind it back on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
So a lot has
But
changed.
it was fun in those days.
It was fun. I mean, you look back at it.
It was so much fun.
It was exciting. The whole art of identifying where to cut, what to cut.
So
and
technical.
Bring it all together, and it sounds so seamless.
Yes.
Without
Absolutely.
the listener hearing where the editing had happened. It was just fantastic.
And you used all the like bits of, for instance, the tape that had been cut off was always in piles, and
Yes.
you used that to create somebody walking.
Yeah.
So you would mush the tape together to make the sound of somebody walking.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you always had somebody in the studio, if you
Yes.
were telling a story, like it was a Springbok radio, somebody in the studio would open and close the door.
Oh.
You didn't have them computer generated.
No.
It was door closed.
Oh, you mean for the
For
radio
drama.
dramas?
For the dramas, yes.
So it was so, and all
Yes.
these bits that were collected would make the sounds that you
Yes.
needed,
That's
that you hear.
incredible.
So on each time when your radio drama would play, there'd be a point where they're walking outside and they had to hear the sound.
Sound,
So
yeah.
someone had to create that sound with a microphone and the sound being recorded.
Oh wow.
And it was such fun.
Because none of that was available like
No.
we have on
Not at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So but has the journalism, has it changed?
Journalism has evolved.
Okay.
I mean, at that time, there were few radio stations in South Africa when I was at school. The ICASA was bringing on board new voices. largely because with the democratic project unfolding, we needed to find diversity in terms of ownership, control, but also diversity in terms of voices. And therefore, ICASA was bringing on board new radio stations, but also the SABC was evolving into a public broadcaster representing the different, aspirations and views across the different sectors within society. But the newspapers were big at that time, and with the passage of time, newspapers, obviously because of digital platforms, have been, relegated to the periphery.
And what was really fun was when a client, like I worked for a company called Punchline.
Yes.
They were announcing a new computer. They took the front page.
Yes.
And you went to the Star that night and watched the newspapers coming out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those were real days. And you could actually feel the excitement. You could pick up the newspaper. It was, and you could, it was just so different.
Absolutely.
To what it is now.
Yeah.
So now people
much
just
different.
so now people just consume obviously content differently. Okay, so I want to go back to one issue.
So we move fast.
Yes.
In terms of when I say we move fast, I mean in terms of how we consume. Every hour there's a breaking story.
Yes.
By the time 7 p.m. arrives, you can't even remember what was trending
morning.
at 7.
Yeah.
We used to wait for the 7 p.m. news on television.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
true.
we did.
That's not true.
So nothing happens during the day.
Yeah.
Well, except radio. Radio will break stories, on their
Bits and pieces.
Yeah, during the bulletins during the day. But to get the visual appeal and element of the story, you wait for the 7 p.m. news, and that's where the nation would actually watch what was unfolding during the day.
The ethics within journalism, have they regressed, or are they still more or less the same?
So, I'm a firm believer in the respect of, let me take a few steps back. Journalism is about society reflecting itself to itself.
Okay.
But also because of the fact that there are individuals with power over everyone else. When I say power, I mean journalists have got power to project individuals in a particular way. So the ethics become an important part of it. And ethics becoming important. So when I spoke to you about how real editing worked, so when a person says a sentence, you can't in your editing misrepresent what they said.
Yes.
So if I say I like coffee, I don't like tea, right? You can't edit me to a point where it says I like tea. Right? Because you can effectively do that. You can chop out the parts that I said that you don't like and misrepresent me. So the ethics are important in that particular regard, but also ethics are important also in a sense of ensuring that the dignity of the individuals you're writing about or you are broadcasting about, they are not in any way, their reputation is not damaged or it's not in any way impugned. And it's an important element for any media practitioner, because media, it's a very powerful instrument, a platform as well. How we project other people is dependent also on how we view our role as people who build society, without misrepresenting the facts, of course.
So coming back to the Gautrain as well. When they first built the Gautrain and the story started to come out, it was quite interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, but two Zimbabwean guys were the engineers who were based on how this was all going to be built so many meters underground. And that's when the news broke overseas that we were building our first train, more so like the underground trains would be in London and places like that. And it would be a people mover. And they had something very similar at Sun City, where they had learned how to make a train go backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
There was a driver on that side and a driver on this side, and it went from the parking.
It was going overhead. Yes.
Correct.
yes.
It was an overhead.
Yeah.
Yes.
So prior to the event, I think it was a few years. It was quite a few years when they awarded us the 2010.
Yes.
This train was going to be built, and using the media, we were promoting the train, and we got a lot of flack because people were saying it'll just last for as long as the Gautrain, as long as the World Cup was going to last. What were we getting so excited about?
Yeah.
And they never realized that actually South Africa used to have a good train system, but for whatever reason it just deteriorated, and that was what it was. But now the excitement was around being at the airport. You could get on this train and you could end up in Sandton. And most of us that time when it launched caught the train for fun. It was an outing. We got on the train because you're not allowed to eat on the train. You're not allowed to chew gum. You're not allowed to... There's a lot of stuff that...
Yes.
And that's what kept... We are now how many years later?
15 years later.
That train looks as new as it did when we launched it in 2010. And I use we because it was a South African project.
You're right.
So
I mean,
tell us about the journey that really started all that time back, because I love the story. I just think South Africa is so proud.
So at that particular point, firstly, there's a context to it. Gauteng is the smallest of all of the provinces.
True.
But it's the most populous in terms of the size, the land size. It's the smallest. But it's got the biggest population. If we continue at this rate, you will not be able to drive to Pretoria. Or you won't be able to drive out of here because practically everyone will be using their own car. And in the build-up to the 2010 Soccer World Cup, and of course the train was not built around the World Cup only, but the World Cup gave us much more impetus,
us the reason,
right, to really get this system going. And you're right. I mean, since we launched this in 2010, we've recorded about 200 million passenger trips to date.
Wow,
that's a lot.
Since we started on the eve of the kickoff of the Soccer World Cup.
Wow,
that was in July 2010. And 15 years later, we are reorganizing how things are happening, because the world in 2010 was different world.
To what it is now.
To what it is now. There was no Uber at that time. There were digital has changed how the world operates. So the world 15 years later, it's a totally different world, in a sense that now customers want to book their transport on their app, and customers are looking for interconnected service that allows them to book an Uber while connecting to a Gautrain. As the Uber drops them off at the station, they're able to move into the Gautrain, and the last mile is waiting for them in Sandton, wherever they're going, right? So, and the demands of the customer are such that those of us who are in the transport industry have to look at it and say, how do we make sure that we improve and we make life easy for the customer? But the Gautrain, coming back to the Gautrain has, over that 15-year period, changed the landscape of Gauteng to where it is today. But also, if you look at it from a perspective of South Africa has always believed in the green agenda of the world. Rail is quite an important player in reducing the carbon footprint.
Absolutely.
No doubt all the transport sector players, rail is the key driver in terms of reducing the greenhouse gas emission.
True.
And the coming into being of since the president signed the Climate Change Act, it means that the transport industry or sector has to look at how it contributes towards the reduction of the greenhouse gas emission as part of our commitments to the global climate treaties that we've signed. And we continue to be part of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change while localizing our action as part of the international commitments. But also to reduce there had been opposition to the growth, or even the Gautrain. I mean, you correctly pointed out that some were saying it might not even go anywhere beyond the World Cup.
The opposition parties and all of them.
But look at us now.
But we hadn't seen anything like this by that time. So maybe it was pure.
It was a wild idea.
It was a wild idea, right?
Yeah, the thought of it, you're going to dig tunnels from...
But it's one of South Africa's most successful stories. And
Absolutely.
I go back to someone like you who was in radio and media. Why does the world not know that is an amazing success story? Because I walk on that train, because when I have to go to Sandton, it's like, drop me at the Rhodesfield station and I'll catch the train. It's so nice to say that.
Yes.
And then I get dropped in, and the station is clean. Clean. You can... The people are friendly.
There's no vandalism on those
No
stations.
vandalism. The staff are waiting to help you. I feel safe. I walk through now they've got the debit card system, which is great.
Yes.
There's a zing zing, and off you go. And I just, every time I walk through, I get this feeling that I'm so proud to be a South African, because I've lived in London for a year. And let me tell you, as much as that tube system works, it's dirty, it's never clean, it's just a lousy station.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that it's a people mover, so don't get me wrong, but the way we've looked after ours has just made me so proud. And to see the way that we deal with it, I just wish that you guys, now that we know we're gonna be after you, because we want to see it on the headlines to say one of the most success stories we have in this continent is our Gautrain.
You're right. I mean, so what also I could add is that when the Gautrain was born, and the idea of a concession agreement was part of the conversation. At that time, Bombela was
the concession, correct.
The concession to construct and operate.
Correct.
And our job as the agents that was established after the Gautrain came into being, it was to ensure that we manage this project on behalf of the province. So we hold Bombela accountable on areas of safety, of security, of cleanliness. So all of the key things that are sitting in the concession agreement at the moment. And that's why it's clean, and that's why the security element is an important part, because in South Africa, security is quite a key consideration when anyone does anything. So when you want to use public transport, security becomes a key consideration.
Sure.
And on our system, you can be guaranteed that with cameras everywhere and the security, physical security on the system, you know, walking through the different carriages, but also to ensure that everyone feels safe and there is no particular, unwarranted remarks or anything, you know.
And especially if you want to go to the airport, that carriage is locked.
It is.
You get in, it's locked.
Yeah.
I mean, my partner Isaac, who was on the radio not so long ago, he got on the Gautrain thinking he's going to sit in front.
Yeah.
And of course he tried to get out. And he had to wait till he got to the airport. Then he stayed in that carriage until a lady came and said, you need to move.
Yeah.
If you're going to get off at Rhodesfield, you've got to move carriages.
Yeah.
Because it's very, it does have a lot of good signage as well. So
so the point that we're making about no eating, no drinking is quite an important element, and that's why, because when you've got stains on your seats and
bubble gum
and
underneath,
bubble gums and all of that, when you clean them, it affects the lifespan of the furniture.
True.
And because of that, we took a decision that there should be no eating and drinking on the system. There are a lot of things we've learned over time as a Gautrain. We've seen how, for an example, where the Sandton station is today, there's been the growth in terms of property.
Correct.
Everything happens around the Gautrain station in Sandton, purely because if you're going to build apartments around the station, the first selling point is about you're going to say walking distance from the Gautrain station. And that's what helps to get properties to really sell like hotcakes. And our idea is that going forward, as we grow the company but also improve the service, we want to invest in the property industry as well. So we're going to diversify our business offering as a Gautrain management agency, because a lot of rail companies do that. They own buildings, they own malls, and they own.
But
all
is
of that.
there a way to make sure that companies like Monte Casino that has a show like Chicago?
Yeah.
Is there a way forward that the Gautrain agency is saying, let's get connected to events? Because at one stage, U2 was here. They were at the F&B Soccer City. Gautrain connected with Metro, where we could catch the train from Rosebank, park at Rosebank, catch to Park Station, cross over to the Metro, and make our way to the U2.
Absolutely.
Because when often we say to people, why don't you just catch the Gautrain? They say, because the last train is at 9 and the show ends at 10. And it would be so awesome to know that if there is something that's big on and it's on for a few days, say, you know what, the Gautrain is going to operate, but you need to pre-buy your tickets, because unless we reach a certain threshold, it doesn't obviously make financial sense for us to do that.
Yeah. So we
get
do
those guys involved.
So, for an example, on Saturday, South Africa versus Australia rugby at Ellis Park. We're working closely with PRASA on that one.
Oh, yes.
So if you're going to be taking the train from Centurion, you'll get off at Gautrain Park.
Correct.
And you can easily connect into the PRASA network to take you directly to because the station is just behind.
It's
Behind Ellis Park.
It's just behind Ellis Park Stadium.
Yes.
So it makes it easy for the two systems to work together. And we did the same when we were there was a rugby game at Loftus Versfeld, where you can take, if you're coming from Johannesburg,
That's the Hatfield. Yeah, you go.
yeah, you can take the train, Gautrain to Hatfield. No, not Hatfield, Pretoria Station. Because then from Pretoria Station, you're able to connect to the PRASA system has got a station just behind Loftus.
But it would be good to get someone like Loftus and Ellis Park
Yes.
to say, if you catch the train,
Absolutely.
we're going to give you a discount.
Yeah.
Or we're going to give you a free beer. Or something that says it makes sense for you to use the train system. Stop being so
Absolutely.
precious about using your own car and then having to park a million miles or park on the pavement or park on somebody's house or whatever.
But people do use it as soon as you announce those.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
I
But
saw it
more
with Ellis
people
Park.
need to be using it
Yeah.
in terms
I
of
mean,
reducing
the point you were
footprint.
raising about Ellis Park offering discounts
Yeah.
and some, it's related to the point I was raising earlier about how digitization has changed. So when
Correct, yeah,
people
the collaboration.
book their trips, they want a seamless movement from one point to the
Correct.
other.
True.
And it means they could be using different service providers, but
But all in
have
one
it-
app, yeah.
Exactly. And that's the kind of world we are in now. And we embraced it, and we're working on those particular, the
That
use
is
of
so awesome
the
to
QR
hear.
codes, for an example, where you are then able to work with financial sector players and everyone. So for an example, if you are in a particular, you've got an insurance with a company X, and you park your car at Hatfield Station in Pretoria, you work in Joburg Central. If your car is parked there every day, then it means it's not on the road most of the time.
True.
But why can't the insurance give you a rebate?
A rebate. Yeah.
So it's a kind of, these are the discussions that we're having now to say transport is a lifestyle, and let's integrate it into your life and make your life easy. Let's hop onto the system safely. We'll take you to the next to your destination rather, while our security makes sure that your car is safe at the station.
And the bus system works amazingly
Like a
well.
clock.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the feeder bus system.
The
The
feeder
feeder
bus.
bus system, I mean, they're in, was it December? Usually in December they have an offer.
Yeah.
So it's if you catch the Gautrain, the bus is R1,
Yes.
or your parking is R1.
Yeah.
And we're trying to encourage people that we know to say use the they've said, oh, we've never been on the Gautrain. It's like,
Yeah.
why not? It's like it's so awesome not to sit
Yeah.
in traffic. You're on your phone, you can send photos, because I do. When
Yeah.
I sit on the train, I go, you see our train 15 years later? Well, let me
Yes.
send it to you in London and just show you what you could be doing if you stayed in South Africa and you didn't move to
Yeah.
London,
Yeah.
because we brought London to South Africa.
Yeah. I mean, what we've done now, over the past 15 years, there had been studies conducted. Last year, we had a brand valuation study. It was to assess the brand, because brands evolve, and you can imagine 15 years later, it means that the people that are using the system now in their 20s were probably 10 at that
Correct.
time. So they were born in a different world. Their expectations are different from someone like me,
Sure.
right? How do we make sure we cater for them? But the brutal reality is that we have a bigger chunk of the population that's in a lower income bracket. And we launched in May, as part of the Workers' Month agenda, a product called Clever Mover. Now, Clever Mover, it's a product that says if you earn about 350,000 per annum and you want to use the system, you can buy that product. But there's a rigorous process that you go through of application to verify that indeed you qualify. Since we started that product in May, we're sitting at just around 6,000 or 7,000 of those products.
Of the new users.
Yeah,
Wow.
of the new users.
Who you didn't have access to
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, we didn't have access to, but some of them could have been using the system, either coming
Or once in a while.
because they feel it's expensive. But what the brand valuation study said to us was that the Gautrain brand is quite a solid South African brand. A lot of South Africans are proud of the work that Gautrain does.
Very true.
They look at public institutions and say, we wish everyone was like
Was
you.
like
That's so
Gautrain,
true. I
absolutely.
was about
Right?
to say something like that.
But you can imagine, we also the same study also says to us, with all of those said, there is a bigger chunk of people in the country and the province who cannot afford you because they feel you are outside of their
Price.
affordability band rather, and therefore you had to really look at the price and say, okay, it's okay. We understand that this brand is quite a key player in terms of transport and mobility in the province of Gauteng. It's a key player also in terms of growing tourism in the province of Gauteng, because the work we do, it's aligned with the tourism strategy of the province. And some of the people that want to move are not necessarily in the same LSM group as myself. They are in the lower LSM groups. They stay in Alexandra. They want to get into the train and go probably visit cousins in Johannesburg Central, or go to Pretoria. Now, what the study also said to us is that we need to review how our products are marketed, and we package products that are specific to that particular market. And that's when we gave birth to Clever Mover. And Clever Mover actually targets those who are within the 350,000 income, but it also speaks to, we also extended to the students, right, at tertiary institutions. So if you're a student, you use that product. If you're a learner, for an example, because families move in the middle of the year, sometimes a family that was staying in Hatfield, Pretoria, has now moved to Centurion. Now the student has to move every day. The learner must take a transport from Centurion to go study or to go to school in Hatfield, whether it's Girls High, Boys High, or whatever the school might be, or even go to Hyde Park. So that product is available for those learners, and that's what we aiming to do, to make sure that it's a system that embraces everyone, but while sticking to the principle of cleanliness, security, without necessarily dumping down or even
So would you
compromising on
also
quality.
consider a tourism product that sort of says, if you come to Gauteng, because we're trying to encourage more people to stop over in Joburg and not
Absolutely.
just fly to Cape Town,
Yeah.
would you consider something that says, you know what, we're going to give you a month's ticket in which you can, as long as you book with one of the airlines and you have an airline ticket, you can go to our ticket office and ask for let's call it a tourism saver, for want of a better word, and it gives you 5 free trips, not free, but you've paid for
Absolutely.
100 Rand for 5 trips anywhere in Gauteng.
That's what we're working on.
So that would be amazing, hey?
And because, I mean, when the tourist comes into the country, they want a very seamless, easy to navigate,
absolutely.
A system, and we have to make sure that our solutions are aligned with the tourist requirements or expectations, and that's what we're working on with the hotels, with the airlines, and everyone. But remember, when we signed the agreement with Bombela those many years back, there was no QR coding, for example.
Correct.
Now you need to find a way of bringing all of these new developments.
Because, I mean, there's also the retirement market. You've got your guys in the UK. We can buy a ticket for a month as long as we travel between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. when it's not high season, high traffic.
Peak season,
we just get a reduced, instead of paying 10 Rand a ride, we pay 8 Rand a ride for one.
And by the way, the Clever Mover, one of the segments or the markets that it includes are pensioners. So pensioners can use the system at a reduced price, and the same as people with disabilities. But I need to say that there's a whole rigorous process of making sure that
you are the right
that
people.
you and I, who might not be the Clever Mover market, don't find a way of through the back door.
That's a South African thing. No, that's an African thing.
Yes.
Before we close, I have to ask you,
Yeah.
what are the extension plans? Are we going to be going to Lanseria?
So we will. The Premier has made it clear when he delivered the State of the Province address, he did say that Gautrain has to reach the different parts of the province. And so one of the biggest challenges we've faced as a brand and as a system has been, why are you only confined to the suburbs? And there's logic in those questions.
Correct, there would be.
Because the biggest market in this country, I mean,
is your suburbs.
It's your suburbs. But also, we need to start saying, how do we bring a market like Soweto, to Rosebank. So if you are in Soweto and you come into Rosebank,
I was going to say there's a lot of houses you have to demolish.
yeah. So the Gauteng Rapid Rail Integrated Network, or GREEN as we call it.
Yes.
Earlier this year, MEC invited comments from Gautengers on the proposed paths or routes. It was called route determination process. So and comments were basically for the MEC to say, look, it was to say anything. You can say I'm not happy, or I'm happy. I recommend this path and this path. But the idea is to make sure that as we expand the system, as we extend it to the different areas of the province, we have to do that mindful of the fact that where we land, we need to bring economic development, and where we and because part of the next phase of the Gautrain Management Agency, I spoke about the property development. We want to make sure that where we land in terms of the stations, there's an opportunity for us to build around
it. Absolutely.
To
create jobs.
To create jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, imagine if you get into the train from Park to Rosebank or to Midrand, you get off in Midrand and they are shops, retail, where you're able to get in, buy milk, bread, meat, whatever you want to get,
and then get back
into
on the train.
car and
Absolutely.
go home. Yeah. That's what you want to do. It's solutions inclined. So customers want solutions, and we are here to make sure that we understand the needs of the customer. To make sure that as I leave this place, I can hop onto the system, go to Hatfield in Pretoria. But in Hatfield, as I get off the train, there's a Woolies, there's a Pick n Pay, there's a Checkers. I get to choose. I can go buy my small grocery for the evening, get into the car and drive home.
So what was the response like to the survey in terms of finding out the routes?
So it's a process that the MEC will announce, because given the nature of our democracy, the MEC for roads and transport as the political principal, she's the one who has to determine this process.
Okay.
So we were assisted in terms of getting her to engage with the different stakeholders. So she will obviously make her pronouncements in terms of what the outcome was. But the idea is to make sure that at the ultimate end, we want to land Gautrain in an area like Jabulani Mall, right, in Soweto. And because of the nature of the project, there's a whole array of EIA processes to be undertaken, geological surveys to be undertaken, and all of those elements have to be part of the conversation. But of course, we're proud that we would want to make sure that as we address the apartheid spatial development, that placed people far away from economic opportunities.
Yeah.
And they spend a lot of money to come to
economic
Sandton
zones
or Marlborough. Because, I mean, if you're coming from Soweto to come to Sandton, I don't know how many transport modes you use.
At least 2 or 3.
Two or three.
Yeah.
Because the design of the system at that time was that from there you must go into town, even though you don't want to go to town. Whereas the system that we want to work on is the one that takes you from here to go directly to where you want to go. And in doing that, we cut the whole traffic congestion, we cut the carbon footprint, but we also give you time back. And if we agree that time is money, then we are going to save you money by making sure that you get to your destination without any hassles at all.
And let me tell you what one of the nicest things still, and I have to add this before we end, is when I walk onto the station and it says, your train will be here in 4 minutes. And it really does arrive in 4 minutes. Yeah. And I take a photo of it and I send it to my guys overseas and I go, see, when it says 4 minutes, here's the train. 4 minutes later.
And I was speaking at a conference recently and I was saying, our customers are accustomed to that type of service to a point where when there's a delay on the system, it becomes a big media issue.
Yes.
But every single day, flights get delayed at the airport. And
nobody really says it's just another delay, go and have coffee, go and do whatever.
People go and have coffee and wait for an hour or 2 or 3. With our system, because this is what we have said we are all about, punctuality, precision and all of that. When there's delays, customers complain. And I said to the team in the office, it's a good thing when customers complain because they know they've got faith in your ability to do this thing right.
They give you feedback.
The minute they stop complaining, then they've given up on you.
I wanted to touch on your communications team. Absolutely fabulous, especially on X, especially how you guys communicate on digital media, because it's like so live, so timeless. How do you guys get that right?
I think a lot of the time it's largely because we try to make sure that we keep our fingers on the pulse. I mean, you know, a customer centric operation requires that on an ongoing basis you need to always check and see what the customers are saying. A lot of time it's questions that you can't answer. Well, sometimes, not all, a lot of the time. Sometimes it's questions you can't answer because then someone says, why are you not extending to Davidson? But a lot of the time it's, you know, questions related to the service or that question about products. We, by the way, are saying, so we've extended even there's a special that we had introduced sometime in April, 1 rand parking at the airport. Sorry, at the station. So you park your car, go to work and pay 1 rand when you come back.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. They've got those specials that you really, if you've got the Gautrain app on your phone, it tells you all that. So we can't wait for December because that's when we use it the most.
And I must declare that we all of these things are happening because we listen to what customers are asking for. So the Clever Mover product was introduced to respond to the needs of the customers in the lower LSM market. But then our traditional customers said, but what about us? I mean, you're bringing specials that favor other people. And we said, no, we understand. We've got you covered here. And we introduced that 1 rand parking product. That has been doing exceedingly well. We've now pushed it to the end of October.
And 1 rand makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
Makes a huge difference.
You know?
Because your parking ticket fees can just be insane. Yeah. You know, I could talk to you the whole day. I mean, you've got so much content. I mean,
especially in his fabulous Bogart jacket.
Absolutely.
I mean, doesn't he just look amazing?
No, it just fits perfectly well. Shout out to the team at Bogart for dressing up.
Thank you.
There's so much I wanted to cover with you, but I mean, of course, in the interest of time, I mean, you're a government communicator. I wanted to go into town about government communication, but, you know, now is not the time. But we appreciate you for your time. It's been absolutely fabulous. It's like I'm starstruck right now, man, because, you know, thank you so much.
No, thank you. And I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much.
And how do people find you? Find the Gautrain, download the app?
Yes, we've got the Gautrain app. If you go to the App Store, we also on different social media platforms. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook,
TikTok,
Twitter now, X.
Yes.
We on all of those platforms, and a lot of the time what we share, and this year as we turn 15, we've developed a number of products where we share with the nation and everyone who's on those social media platforms the work we've done over time, the successes we've recorded, the clean audits, by the way.
That's true.
Yeah. The clean audits over the past 12 years or so.
And I think it's really encouraging people to use the Gautrain.
Yeah.
You know, don't sit back and say, well, it'll always be here. Because if you don't support it, it won't always be here.
Yeah.
You know, if there isn't enough support on a specific route, they'll withdraw it. If you aren't getting on that bus, they'll stop the bus. So don't make the assumption that you can't use it, or it's the easiest, most safest system to use in the Gauteng system. And when you use it, for instance, to Rosebank, the changing of the guard is easy. You go down a platform, up a platform, everything is easily marked. And you can use your debit card, credit card, in and out, and it's a tap system. So you really don't have to worry about that. And safe as well. So encourage your visitors from overseas, instead of paying the expensive parking at the airport, just say, listen, get on the Gautrain, I'll pick you up at one of the stations, or in Sandton where you booked in, wherever you booked in, I'll pick you up.
Yeah.
I mean, that for me,
you're like a salesperson.
I know, I should be.
Well, come on.
But it's just such an amazing system.
It is. I mean, we are a country that deals with a whole lot of challenges. We try to get the areas that are not working right. And I think the Gautrain is an example of those institutions
Something we got right.
That we got right. And South Africans are very proud of this brand. I mean, when we had the illegal drilling the last time at Rosebank, I monitored the sentiments on social media, and they were saying, "You can't do that to our Gautrain."
Yeah.
People took ownership of it.
They took ownership,
Yeah,
and
it's our train.
and you could sense the energy and the love that
And
you
the
can't do
pride
that,
that
and
we
the
have in
pride
it. Yeah.
that you can't do that to our Gautrain. This is the one thing that's working like a clock.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that as we grow the economy of the province of Gauteng, we continue to avail our service to a whole array of different social events, partnerships with sporting organizations, and ensure that as much as we take you to work, let's also take you to places where you enjoy life and you are able to relax.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? This was such an amazing conversation.
It was,
Thank
hey?
you so much.
Thank
and
you.
I mean, so refreshing.
Yeah.
Because often so many negative things are said about our country, but this is just one beautiful story.
Yeah.
Like
Cape Town
it's-
has a mountain, we have the Gautrain.
and I mean, this
Yeah.
is like
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Like we are one crazy African country. Like we are a modern African
Yeah.
country. Some guy who was coming overseas is like, I thought this was a third world country until I
Yeah.
landed at the airport.
Yeah.
Came on this Gautrain and just went through and saw the most beautiful sights. And of course, there are challenges here and there. But
There are. I mean, even during COVID, when there were challenges in terms of security, our security personnel were making sure
Absolutely,
that the
that's
system
what
was
I'm trying
looked
to
after. So we never had the
there was no
challenges.
vandalism.
No,
No,
there
there
was
was
Prasa
vandalism.
took a knock.
yeah.
Yeah.
Prasa lost most of the infrastructure during
Absolutely.
COVID. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Grootmani, this has been such a great conversation
Fantastic,
with
thank
you.
you. Fantastic,
Wish I
thank you.
didn't have to end right now. But, yeah.
Albi Modise, the Senior Executive of Marketing and Communications for Gautrain, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm Geniene and
Yeah.
Uncle Zach.
Thank you.
Beyond the Itinerary.
All right. So this has been a fantastic show. Thank you very much, Feroza, for all
Thank
the
you,
hard work
Feroza.
behind the
Yes.
scenes. All right. So this is how we're
Awesome.
going to break out. Here's a song from Cher. This is called Believe. And we believe in this beautiful country, don't we, friend?
We do.
We do. We do.